from the Andes, where I just got back from. So after many days on the Inca Trail, where I was grungy and the most, after 4 days, no showers, I decided to get the blingiest dress I could find. And I'll be doing double duty as a disco ball at the after party. So to start off, I want to ask you, how many of you here feel that you've grown up? Listen, we need a few people who respond. How many people here feel like you're still growing up? Yeah. That's me. That's what next time's about. We feel like we're still becoming. We haven't leveled up. We're not resting on our laurels. We are still growing and being and doing. And that's why we gather here tonight at times like this, is to reinforce that, to remember that there's so much left that we have to do. And we don't want society telling us that it's over or we're done, because we know we've got so much runways left. So that's what we're here for. And as you know, our motto is age boldly, and that means different things to different people. For me, it means living with optimism and without fear. And I'm trying to remember that every day. I got divorced last year after 29 years, and it's a big deal, but the first thing I thought was, I'm going back to New York. So that's what I did. I moved back to New York, and where I spent some of my formative years after college. And I think of this as my second 20s, or as a palate cleansing between life courses. Next after New York, and I don't care. It's okay. My kids are launched, and probably a lot of you have kids who are almost launched, getting there, and this means more time for you, more time to pursue your dreams and goals, and I hope that we can help you do that. So I'm also going to we're going to hear from some really accomplished women tonight about what aging boldly means to them, but we're also going to hear from some of you, because I hope you put on, when you came in, you wrote up how you're aging boldly. And we will be reading those later, and we'll be giving prizes to people. Basically, choose yours as like a killer, and we've got great prizes, by the way. But you never know what you're going to hear when you ask people how are you aging boldly. One of our events up in New York, we had somebody who raised her hand and said, "I'm having sex for the first time in 16 years." I know, that's one way to do it. I agree. So I want to start out with our first speaker, Ruth Pennebaker, and this is a mystery to me. This is a mystery to me, is how I've lived 30-something years in Austin, and I love good writing, and as you noticed, I'm in the fuck you aging business, and so are you. How we didn't really meet and get to know each other until tonight. So, Ruth has written an amazing book, and I'm going to give away as a prize, and it has a great title, Pucker Up, The Subversive Woman's Guide to Aging with Wit, Wine, Drama, Humor, Perspective, and the occasional good cry.
It's with Marion Hanley.
With Marion Hanley as the illustrator. Sorry, Marion. She's the co-author. Oh, Marion! Woo! I'm so sorry. Ruth has written for all kinds of publications, from Texas Monthly to the New York Times to the Washington Post. Just recently, an incredible, was it your story in the Washington Post recently about Texas?
About having an abortion.
Oh, okay.
That
That was legal.
Yeah.
So she's also been a commentator for KUT, She's written 3 novels for young adults and 2 for grown-ups, though as we've seen, I don't think we have many grown-ups here, so. I can't wait to hear what Ruth says about aging boldly. Please welcome her.
Okay, it's on. I'm not gonna tell you all how to age well, because I'm still working it out myself, but here are a few tips that have gone well for me. First of all, don't lie about your age. That is tacky and unoriginal. Our age defines who we are in so many ways. For my generation, it was the assassination of JFK, the Beatles, black and white TV. And if you're lying about your age, then you're going to have to do math all the time. That's going to be exhausting. A sour disposition, probably my friends. Let's all get over our obsession with youth. The research shows that youth is not that wonderful a time, and people are not really that happy. I know they look great. But sometimes I think it's kind of like going through menopause. And at the time I thought, oh my God, who am I if I'm not fertile? And it turned out I was just fine. I was like, an ass. Sometimes I see my lost youth as being kind of like an old tampon. I haven't seen it in so long, I don't know what I do with it. A good attitude helps. There is research on that by Becca Levy, who's a social psychologist at Yale. A good attitude about aging adds to your health and your longevity. But also, aging is a good time in so many ways. It's very emotionally rich. You have more time for family, friends, to pursue interests, and also to kind of lose yourself in causes that are bigger than you are. And we all live in a big hurting world right now. We need to do more. Because I was a newspaper columnist for years, framing a narrative is really important for me. And that's true with aging too. For example, a day when my hair looks like hell. Well, that's a bummer, but no big deal. You don't want to talk about it. But right, if something else bad happens, like you broke a molar on a cake ball, which I have done. It's like breaking into untied candy. Or maybe you get attacked by a flock of grackles, which could happen any day. I mean, in fact, everyone loves stories about disasters. They don't want to hear about your successes. Like, I was trying to renew my TSA card, and the woman behind the counter was trying to get my fingerprints, and she finally gave up. She said, well, as you get older, you sometimes lose your fingerprints. Anything was permanent. I thought I started thinking that also at this age, I am invisible. We're all invisible. If we don't leave fingerprints, we can start a crime syndicate. Abortion drugs. aches and pains. I know it's kind of tempting, but it's really pretty boring to talk about it. The only good comment I heard came from Alice Roosevelt Longworth, who's Teddy Roosevelt's daughter. And she was very popular in Washington, D.C. because, let's be honest, she was such a bitch. People would sit by her and gossip about everybody. Anyway, Alice got breast cancer. She had a bilateral mastectomy. And she went around referring to herself as the only topless octogenarian in Washington, D.C. Now, if you can comment like that, you can complain all you want. I will tell you one of the worst things that happens to you at this age is sometimes people come up and talk to you in semi-baby talk. How are we today? Well, we are not doing so well, but we are being talked to like we are the village idiots. And when people do that, I know they mean well, and I want to be kind to them. But if it goes on too long, and I feel like I'm drowning in a vat of maple syrup, I just may have to let loose the F-bomb. Because nobody talks baby talk to you after you let the F-bomb go. I also urge you to celebrate every chance you get. My husband and I used to throw caution to the winds and go to funerals at every chance. And I said, what about the happy occasion? And I make the point of, if you have a birthday, if you have an anniversary, congratulations, we will show up. If you have to make up a time to celebrate, do it. I don't like bucket lists. I prefer bucket lists. That means these are things you never have to do again. For me, it's camping because I have a very close personal relationship with indoor plumbing. Not to wear stilettos, and also I'm only going to get my floors waxed. It just sprang to mind after I heard what you've done for women we're going through getting Brazilians. I mean, I got the vapors just hearing about it. But what you don't realize is just be patient. Eventually, nature will give you. It's free. It's painless and it's free. Finally, on a serious note, I do think most of us have kind of silent and invisible presences with us as we live at this point in life. The friends we have who died too young. They were too young for wrinkles and arthritis, all these things we complain about. And because I had breast cancer in my 40s, I went to lots of breast cancer support groups and was very close to other survivors. And they were wonderful. They did everything they could to live, but it still wasn't enough. They died anyway. And I think about them as I age. I feel like I almost hear them telling me to enjoy it, to make the most of it. Sometimes I feel like I'm aging for all of us, and I want to do it as well as possible. But more than anything, these friendships remind me that aging is a privilege. Let's never, ever forget that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. Thanks for your perspective. So I want to talk about Tito's. Yay, Tito's! bubbly elixir, yay. Tito's has been one of the best sponsors for us from the beginning of Next Tribe, and we are so grateful to them. I was very lucky. I mean, now Tito's is everywhere, and of course it started here in Austin. And I was lucky to have met Tito back in 2001 when he was still bootstrapping the company. And he ended up marrying one of my best friends, so I kind of had a front row seat on their whole growth as a company. It's really been amazing. And I know that right now, I think we're the top selling spirit in the country of any kind, and they're beating those Russian vodkas, so take that. One thing that you probably don't know about Tito's is all the work they do behind the scenes, all the support they give for the homeless, for the arts, for stray cats and dogs. And so I really hope that you can appreciate what they've done for Austin and in a small way here for Next Tribe. So I know we took your glasses away, but let's do a virtual test. Tito's 20th anniversary being the life of the party. You know, sometimes that you meet a woman and you're like completely in awe of her. That's how our Chief Operating Officer, Jeannie Edmonds, say hi. Christine Mei, who's our next speaker, and they were both working as consultants on a company. And when we were planning this event, she said, "You have to get Christine." And Christine, you have like one of the most impressive resumes. I think I read that up there. Because I was reading and going, okay, how could one person do all this? Anyway, she's been working for Nike, Coca-Cola. She's on the board of Naturally Austin. She's been the CEO of Gathered Foods, which makes plant-based seafood known as Good Catch. And she's had some exciting developments since we booked her. Well, all I can say is cha-ching, cha-ching. We're going to hear all about it, and I'm just so happy to welcome you, Christine Mei.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here, to be part of the tribe, to be invited to be part of the tribe. And, you know, what does it take to be a badass, and how do we grow up to a, well, I'm still growing. And, you know, Jean's making me nervous because I have so much to say all the time. I get so excited. I did go overtime, but she's got her 3, 2, 1. You know, so much to cram into 10 minutes. I'm going to try my very best. But maybe a little bit of context about me. I actually had to go look at my resume this morning to try to count it up. So I have a career that spans almost 35 years. I've had probably about 20 jobs, worked for 7 different companies. I've moved 11 times. I've lived abroad for 13 years, almost half of my career. I've been married once. I've been divorced once. I have 3 beautiful children, and I am a single working mom and have been for the past 20 years. So, you know, all of that wrapped up together. Jeannie, you just said that I had been working as CEO for Gathered Foods, and that was my most recent gig. But since Jeannie and I talked, so I've got Jeannie over here and Jeannie over here. So Jeannie and I talked, I didn't actually even know that today I would be in transition. At the end of August, we had our brand Good Catch acquired, and facility is going to become a co-manufacturing site. So that is well on its way, but I'm not going to lie. The last few months, high stress, high stakes. And it was really an experience of give yet. So it was being able to give and galvanize all the experiences that I've had in the last 30, 35 years to help grow and scale this company. But it was also a get because I got to step into an entrepreneurial ecosystem that was fully focused on something that was mission driven. to have, you said plant-based seafood, so it's to eat more fish in the sea. So that's really a noble cause. But you know, as this high stress, high stakes experience came to a close, I need a brand break. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to decide, you know, do I want to take another operating role? Do I want to do advising? Do I want to do more board work? Do I want to do all of it? I'm going to give myself some time to kind of think about what it is that I want to do. And so really, it's truly very time sensitive. Not just make up for tonight. This is really, really true, real time for me about thinking what's next. And I will tell you what I'm rolling around in right now, because I'm already confirmed, very surprised. My operating question in my head is, how do I want to live for what's next? How is the operative word? How do I want to live? And then when I figure out the how, then I'll be able to turbocharge my action plan and figure out what I need to do to enable the how. So how is first, I'm working on it right now, and then what will come. And there are two things that really anchor kind of that reflection. And I love this age boldly, because it's really kind of the center of basically embracing life. You know, it's the innate challenge of embracing life. And there's two things, of course I have more, but I only got 10 minutes, right? So there's two philosophies. One is an inspirational quote that I actually carry on my phone. And then the other one is a leadership legacy statement that I wrote 10 years ago. So I thought I would just share both of those, but just want to make sure that I say it right. So that first one, that inspirational quote, I do carry it on my phone, and it's choose joy. Don't wait for things to get easier, simpler, better. Life will always be complicated. Learn to be happy right now. Otherwise, you'll run out of time. And so, said another way, how do you experience life when it's all the distractions? What gives you joy? You know, as a single mom, I can tell you that life has its challenges, right? I mean, trying to balance a full-time job and balancing minimum 9 extracurricular activities every week, plus remember what kid is where. You know, it's a pretty special time. And what I will also say is, because we're focused on day-to-day operations, just surviving the day, it was definitely a boot camp, and I was trying to learn. But I also wanted to make sure that with that focus and that discipline, it was also fun. And I really like to mark special times with fun memories. And my example really is, and it's so special to me even to this day, is because I was so focused on the discipline and the focus, get steps here, go there. When each of them graduated from high school, I said, this is my time with you, because you know, they don't really want to hang out with you after high school. So I said, I want to make sure, I said, I want to give you an experience. You can pick anywhere in the world that you want to go, anywhere. And the two of us are going to go. Because in my mind, that was going to be that last moment that we could really, I could hold them close and they would be with me. And so Courtney, my daughter, and by the way, today, October 19th, she turned 29. So Courtney in high school, back in high school, she picked Italy. Now, okay, Rome, Milan, Venice, Verona, the Vatican, fabulous. But maybe one of the highlights for her was that Lady Gaga was in our hotel, and we're just steps away from in Rome from the gay pride parade. And so that was really memorable for her. Now my older son Zach, he decided, you know what, Mom, I want to go to the Great Barrier Reef. I said, great. What he hadn't really thought through was the best way to see the Great Barrier Reef is underwater. So we got bonus time together because we had to go to school and get PADI certified so we could go underwater. And so that was a lot of fun. Now my youngest son, Ben, when he graduated from high school, said, okay, Italy, Great Barrier Reef, see, I can top that one. He set himself a goal of, by the time I'm 18, I want to step foot on all 7 continents. We did it. Number 7, 2018, we ran a half marathon in Antarctica. And how amazing that was. I mean, you know, you're not allowed, sorry, I'm gonna go off now. I mean, you're not allowed to stay at the finish line when you're finished because you're getting hypothermic. So you have to get shipped back to a big ship. So what he did was 500 meters too close, because, okay, he's 18, he didn't train, he's still faster than me. So he went in circles for 10 minutes, waiting for him. Where's she come? And I said, I thought you were gonna wait for me like on the ship. He goes, no, I want to cross the finish line with you. And so we crossed the finish line. So it's just moments like that which make it so special because it's about choosing joy. The second one is a leadership legacy statement. 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, 2012, 2013, when I was with Coke, I was part of a training academy. It was the most formative, life-changing training that I've ever done. We were taken away from our families for 41 days. There were 25 of us from 17 different countries. We spent a week in Atlanta, a week in Chicago, a week in Mexico City, and 2 weeks in India. 88 learning modules, and we didn't even know what the deliverable was until day 38. Because they said, you're such type A's. If we tell you what the deliverable is, all you need to do is focus on what we need to do to get the deliverable done. You need to be trained to listen. You need to be trained to recognize all around you. Day 38, the assignment was write your leadership legacy statement. How do you want to be remembered? And I can tell you, I reflect on that now, because it's not only applicable to my professional life, but it's very applicable to my personal life. And I'll share it with you now. It's listen, learn, and connect with your heart. Only then can you lead with authentic passion. So if you think about it, listen. Listening is not just with your ears, your eyes, it's all of your senses. And it's also listening to what says in here and what's in here. Because that's how you're gonna get knowledge, right? That's how you're gonna get guidance. And you have to be open to learn. Be curious. Be committed to experience new things. Embrace ways of thinking. Is that my time? Sorry. Okay. All right. I'm going. And connect with your heart, right? Because if you connect with your heart, then you are really truly showing that authenticity, right? And you can truly live life with passion. So listen, learn, and connect with your heart. Only then can you lead with authentic passion. And as I kind of move forward and kind of think about back to that original question, how do I want to live? And then what do I need to do to enable that how? I want to make sure that I pause and say, I have earned this time to contemplate. I have earned this moment. I have earned this opportunity to have a choice. And for all you badass women out there, you have also earned time to contemplate whatever's going on in your life. You have earned your moment. You have earned your opportunity to make choices for your life. Why? Because you are worthy. You are very worthy. Remember that. And so as I kind of think of what's next, you can check back with me Q1 2023, because I have decided that's where I have to decide. So, thank you very much.
Christine, I think, during this decision time, we have a little bit of break. You might want to go to Rancho La Puerta. Yeah, Rancho. So now that I'm to New York, I have our beauty entrance in New York, and I go to her for everything. What to, who to cut my hair, what med spa, whatever. So when she told me how much she loved Rancho La Puerta, I really listened, and she's a nut for this place, and we have Roma here. Where's Roma? Oh, there's Roma from Rancho La Puerta. Thank you for your support and sponsorship. Yes. I hope that someday we'll have a next time trip there. That's my dream. So, this year Rancho La Puerta is celebrating the 100th birthday of its founder. So it's a big deal. And it's won all kinds of awards for wellness. It's been woman-owned since 1940 and offers an abundance of exercise classes, organic cuisine, hiking and divine spa treatments, surrounded by 4,000 acres of gardens and meadows. And it's just introduced the residences at Rancho La Puerta. And we have some people who've already been. Flora, I know you've already been. Some other people. Back there, Nan's been there. All right, so you can speak for it. So we have a little. Cheryl Kramer Kay has made a little video of how much she loves Rancho La Puerta. Jason, we're gonna get your. Go see your secret.
Have a nervous breakdown, or get myself to Rancho La Puerta, a destination spa and wellness resort in Tecate, Mexico, about an hour's drive from San Diego. The ranch, as devotees call it, is the perfect place to get perspective, to contemplate changes you want in your life, to reset your habits, and to celebrate friendships and milestones. The matriarch of the ranch, Deborah Zake, just celebrated a major milestone herself. She turned 100 years old. Deborah and her late husband, Professor Edmund Zake, started their health camp together in 1940. Today, their daughter, Sarah Olivia Brightwood Zake, is the president of the ranch, and she carries on the family legacy of inspiring the pursuit of health. And my family has indeed been inspired by theirs. I've lost track of the number of times I've been to the ranch since my first visit in 1996, but I try to go once a year with my sister-in-law, her mom, my cousin, and my aunt. We go so often that we joke about buying one of the ranch's new spectacular residences, so we could basically just live there. On average, 60% of the guests each week are repeat visitors. So what is it that makes the guests return over and over again to Rancho La Puerta? I think it's the hikes.
My favorite part of the trip was hiking every single morning. It was so beautiful to watch the sunrise.
I love hikes, like I live now, so hiking is not part of my everyday, so I really love them.
I go to very early morning hike, and usually I go over behind. I meet new friends who are also backwards.
I like that the ranch is something for everyone, and that we can all be there together, but we don't have to always be together. And it's really fun when we see some of the family walking in class. Oh, we're here, I hear you. I think I tried every single workout, which they're on them. Fell in love with the bodies.
I always do basic Pilates because I can do not basic Pilates. I really love it. And one day, while I was at the ranch, I found my axe. My favorite food is probably water. Oyster tea.
And it's definitely food.
I feel breakfast is one of my favorite parts of the day.
And I loved all of the fresh organic food.
I miss that this enormous buffet of fresh organic food that's grown on the property. Every desire is met.
And my God, the treatments.
I would say my favorite treatment at the ranch is the good old, really hard, really awesome classic massage.
All kinds of massages, you like them all.
My favorite is the hands and feet massage where they put paraffin on your hands, they massage you, they massage your feet. It's fantastic.
Most of all, I think it's the chance to disconnect and the chance to reconnect.
There's no technology, and there's no television, I just get to be present.
You're surrounded by people who care about you and who want you to be your best.
I think Rancho La Puerta is the kind of place that makes you doubt.
So I love how Cheryl in that video talks about connecting and reconnecting on trips. So as a lot of you know, Next Tribe does a lot of traveling ourselves. I want anybody who's been on a Next Tribe trip with us to stand up. Woo! You know how to travel, right? So we take people places from Umbria to San Miguel to Machu Picchu, where I just finished. And I started offering trips because in my life as a magazine writer, I did a lot of articles, travel articles. And then when we homeschooled our boys during their middle school years, I planned all the trips through South America, through the ancient world. And I figured I got okay at it. You know, I did pretty well sticking to a budget and making some exciting moments. And so my first trip was to San Miguel de Allende, which is where I lived for 4 years. And we went over the Day of the Dead, and that was in 2017, right after we started. It's become so popular, we do it every year. The trip is sold out this year, but there were so many people who wanted to go. We added another trip in November. We still have a couple of spots on that. So up here, you'll see a photo of our beautiful Michelle Martel in Paris last June, when she was blissing out in the Luxembourg Gardens before we headed to Normandy to stay in a historic chateau as the second part of our trip. And on the right side is San Miguel de Allende, and one of our most popular trips is Troncones. He's probably, can you go to the next one? Yeah. So this is really one of my favorite trips. It's in Mexico. All of them are favorites. I'm not talking about. This is on the beach in the on the Pacific in Mexico, and it's all about playing and having fun and goofing off. And this year it's so popular, we added a second week. So if you want to play and have fun, this is the one for you. And our next trip is Umbria. I mean, one of the ones we just added for next year. And where's Jen Vickers? Jen Vickers, see her there? She owns this villa where we'll be going, and she's going to run the creativity retreat. She lives here in Austin when she's not in Umbria. So if you want to know, we have a few slots left for that. It's a creativity retreat. We're going to work on our expressing ourselves, but we're also going to be heading all over to these gorgeous towns. I went last year because somebody had to scout out the place. So I had to go. I give it the seal of approval. And our next slide. This is Machu Picchu, where we just finished. And I love this picture so much. This is a pair of sisters on our trip, and they worked so hard to get to the Sun Gate. This is where you walk up and you see Machu Picchu, which has been photographed 50,000 times, and you see it for real. With your own eyes. Look at that joy and relief and just disbelief. And it's such a great trip. We're going to do it again next year if you'll feel up to it. And there's three people here who are just off the trail with me. Courtney, Denise, and Flora, please stand up. We knocked ourselves out on that trip, but we accomplished it. And if you think you want to do it and try it, you should talk to them. Don't believe me, talk to them. They'll tell you it's hard, but is it worth it? Yes. Okay, we're gonna just let you see some things about our trip, just because it's fun. That's how I take it. And so, anyone who has spent any time with me, especially since my divorce, knows that I love to get the conversation into sex about sex. I'm like a 16-year-old again, but not that I had sex at 16 and not that everything's working the same way. Let's just say 16 in spirit. How about that? We've done a lot of stories about sex. One of our most popular stories is called "Help! I don't want to have sex with my husband." And we've done stories about sex toys and sex after divorce. I think I read that one. And our sex survey found that I think a third of us are having sex at least once a week. I should say of us. It's not really of us, but sex of you guys. Anyway, so I'll stop because I could go on and on, but there's somebody much better to talk about sex than me. It's Rocio Pelayo, and she has a great job description as sex tech innovator. And sex tech is a movement led primarily by women, right? That is redefining the traditional sex industry. She's on a mission to normalize human sexuality worldwide using technology-driven ventures, I like that, designed to enhance, innovate, and disrupt everything you thought you knew about sexuality. So listen up, ladies. Rocio Pelayo.
Thank you, Jeannie, for that. I wasn't expecting a rather modest person.
Well,
Yeah, actually, I was like, yeah, this is me now. So, hi everyone. Somebody earlier asked me if I was nervous. I was nervous about something. Now I'm talking with 50 of my closest friends about sex. I'm nervous about it. So, sex tech. How many of you have heard the word sex tech? Actually, quite a few. Pretty good. So let me just start by talking about what sex tech is before I go any further. I don't want to leave you hanging. It's only a 10-minute talk, so it is a teaser only. I'm not able to actually show you anything like I normally like to show some of the innovations because it's just so much more fun, right? But that'll have to be for another day. So sex tech is any technology that enhances or disrupts sexuality. That could be a sex toy, a sex robot. That's the most common one we all go to, right? That's what made Jeannie giggle, like a 16-year-old, like, you know. However, when we talk about sex tech, we have, you can say, two buckets. Sexuality, which is anything around pleasure, we've got that covered. Health, relationships, relationship to ourselves, relationship to our partners. Safety, and education. So we are innovating in every space. It can be done with all our modern technology, AI, Web3, Meta. It could be an application, a website, it could be a physical toy, it could be anything as long as we're using modern technology. The one thing I want to say is that it's not new. This isn't new. Sex tech is a new word, new buzzword. The sex industry has always found a way to leverage technology. I mean, when the printer was invented, guess what was the most published and distributed book in Europe? It was an erotic book that was passed by literature. It's called literature. But it was the most popular thing. 2 years after the cinema comes alive and we have movies, 2 years after that, we see the first adult film. That's where pornography is born. Then we have, I'm gonna move forward a little bit faster so we come into this decade. VHS. Anybody remember VHS? Yes. We all had membership clubs, or our parents or someone. And we've got to thank the sex industry for that. Because when the VHS was born, discovered, the studios had wanted nothing to do with it because it was too expensive. It was like $800 a machine, $50 a cassette tape. Who in the world is going to want to watch a movie at their home? You know, that's crazy. So the studio said, no, it's a fad, it's going to pass. The sex industry said, whoa, we can now make films and people can watch it in the privacy of their own home. No more going into those dodgy little cinemas where you're like, what am I going to sit on? You know? So guess what happened? The sex industry, they're the ones that pushed the advancement of VHS. They're the ones that increased the demand. And we all have memberships of Blockbuster, right? Same thing happened with the DVDs. Same thing. Internet, same thing. First streaming event was a baseball game in 1995. And the sex industry saw that. It was like, oh, I don't need to produce tapes anymore or DVDs or anything like that. I'm going to send content straight in. But guess what they had to figure out? How to get paid. Guess who figured out online payment the way we use it today? The sex industry. So technology has always been there. The difference now, do y'all want to know what changed?
Women.
Women. Women is what changed. The understanding of female orgasms. The understanding of the power that the orgasm has is better understood by women for some reason. So, you know, it is, you can blend it, you can have multiples, you can have this type, that type, I can work out and have an orgasm. All of that was understood. The power of that, the health benefits of that. The health benefit, mind and body was understood by women. In about 2015, there was only about 30 females that were in the sex industry. Many women in the sex industry, but business women. Now, we have more than 60% of the industry is female founders. Females doing porn, females doing education, doing therapy, doing health related, doing relationship, all innovations, technology, globally. The power of social media gave us a voice. There's another technology for you. It gave us a voice, it brought us together closer. We could talk and hide, and we can listen without nobody watching, right? And that is what kind of gave that push. And then also just that empowerment. So now we have Make Love Not Porn, if anybody knows Cindy Gallup. Make Love Not Porn is a phenomenal educational tool and also just showing real sex. And another thing that happened was real bodies. The reality of things, real things happening. And that started to minimize how we talk about sex and how we see sex. We started realizing, I have a really nice slide that I love to present, that sex is no longer just phallocentric or penetration, because that's not what it is. And we started realizing that our sexuality is who we are, and that's how we lead in this industry, is by first helping everyone through education of being comfortable, understanding who they are, and finding the power of who they are through their voice, and all of that is part of sexuality. We are born with our sexuality, we die with our sexuality. What is so awesome now is the menopause market. Women, I mean, I don't know what screams louder than aging boldly than menopause industry right now. $600 billion market, and everyone is going after one thing, pleasure. Because women are like, what is this crazy thing that you lose your libido and you lose all this stuff? And like, that's insane, that really doesn't happen. No, you're right, it doesn't happen. It was the narrative that we were sold. Things happen, but that doesn't really happen. So we have huge innovations happening there globally. And I love when men are like, wait, what? So it was we were told that it went away. Like, you had a headache, you didn't want to hang out with us anymore, like you were tired. No. See, menopause is where we're not putting up with bullshit anymore. And we're like, so if you don't have sex, because I'm trying to avoid penetration thing because that's not really sex. Now we're learning that that's not really sex. We know sex is different. I gotta go find it. So we're seeing a huge movement there, and it's really global. Reimagine Sexuality Conference was highlighting that. It was, I want to put together the business of sex tech. Because sex tech is not about the technology, it's about what it's doing to our sexuality. It's about normalizing the conversation, normalizing the way we feel about ourselves, because if we feel better about ourselves, we live our best life. True or true? Yes, that includes with a huge piece is sexuality. It's not true that sexuality is something that is on the side. It's not true. So Reimagine Sexuality highlighted every aspect of that and everybody that was working behind the scenes for that. 90% of my conference was women. I tried looking for the men, but it was mainly women making a difference. And I mainly work in Latin America, which is not easy, you know, like a good Catholic, strict family person that I came from. I decided to just talk about sex in Latin America. So I've been pretty successful, I'm gonna say, but I do get a lot of looks like, oh my God, that's so hard. Sorry you're doing that. It really sucks. You know, and I'm like, ooh, sorry you're not living like a good life. But when I go to Latin America, they look at me and they say, well, you live in the US, and in the US, it's really progressive. So, I know, I'm almost done. Sorry. So it's like really progressive. So, you know, it's easy for you to talk about it over there. I come to the US, and it's like here, right? I don't even have to go into everything that's going on here. But then here they'll say, well, you know, maybe you should talk in Europe, it's easier. I get on the phone with the thought leaders in France, Europe, and I say, oh my God, you guys must be having such an easy time. And she's like, no, not at all. Come and see. A couple of weeks ago, I was there for a conference. I was like, wow, I did not understand that the French were so like narrow-minded as well. Like, isn't that crazy? And so I'm there at the conference talking to a lot of women, they're like, you need to go to Germany. Okay, call up the German thought leaders, hey, what's going on over there? We're having a conference, come over, I'm gonna fly this weekend. She's like, but you know, we have a lot of work here. Man, the Germans, oh my God, so much taboo, so much. And I'm just like, wow, this is really global. None of us are comfortable with who we are. And that includes our sexuality. That's crazy. My name is Rocio Pelayo, and I, through the use of technology, this is how I'm reaching boldly. I'm bringing sexuality back to humanity. Thank you.
Okay, quickly, we're going to, this is where we find out what you said about aging boldly. I have to get my glasses for this one. Hold on. Oh. Okay. Can you hold me? So all of you were asked to write down what you felt, how you were aging boldly, and we picked 4 of them, and you're gonna get prizes. Okay, I know this woman, we were just talking. I left a 30+ year marriage to live the 3rd trimester of my life and find happiness and freedom. Dana Frank. You're gonna get Ruth Pennebaker's book. I love this book. And not just Ruth, it is also Marian Henley. Yeah. You guys back to her. And the next one was just somebody can hand these to me, but if you want me out, not to be in. I'm living, oh my gosh, it's so sticky. I'm living boldly by trying a new group. Embrace the changes with gratitude. Cindy David. Yes, Cindy. Morning, afternoon, and night to make your life so much richer in heaven. We love choice health. Okay, this is fun. Aging boldly is when you need name tags more than ever, but decide it's more important to use them to inspire others to do great things and accept the fact that everyone will just have to deal with you not remembering their names. Tito's thing. You're winning, you get the Tito's gift card.
Oh my goodness. Wow, party after party.
Hot tea over at your house. Vanessa Sinclair, last from Scotland, last aging boldly by traveling and always looking for a new what?
Adventure.
You come to the right place, girl. And appropriately, what?
You said something else.
Plus lots of wine. Appropriately, here's a little something brought back from Peru, a little llama for you. Can you pass it back to Vanessa? I also want to give some more love to Joysolve, which is one of our sponsors, the CBD company. They're one of the principals is a new member, Nikki, and also Nutrafol, which helps with thinning hair. It's in your gift bag. You guys have 2 months supply of Nutrafol in your gift bag. That's worth like $160. Everybody, next year we're gonna come and everybody's gonna get Okay, now we need some chairs because we have Liz Lambert. To have Liz Lambert speak, I've been trying for how long? You have more than 1 year. More than 1 year, and she finally said, "You're persistent and compelling, and I guess I'll do it." And I said, "Is that saying I'm just annoying?"
I actually forgot that I was here to speak tonight.
Well, I want to also say that looking at this picture of Liz in the motorcycle, which is just the coolest of cool, that's when I came up with the theme of how to be a badass when you grow up. You inspired that name because you're such a badass. You're unknown is slightly in and out since the mid-90s, and Texas Monthly has called you the queen of cool, right? Do you approve of that name?
Sure.
And you all know her. I mean, she is her hotels, the San Jose, the Austin Hotel, the San And I had the great pleasure of helping you with, in a very tiny way, the opening of the St. Vincent
That's
Memorial.
right.
And I did a lot of hanging sconces and running to Home Depot.
You were very beautiful.
But what was great is I had just left my marriage. The day that I arrived there, I just driven away from my marriage. I'll do anything, get my mind off this crap. So, but when I first met you, you had just bought the San Jose property. And so you were the princess of cool at that point, you were like just starting your reign. But I mean, this was a huge leap. Like I've never asked you, like, what made you think, okay, this is the thing for me?
You know, I actually don't know that I did think. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are from Austin, probably most of you, but South Congress was not what South Congress is, and it was hard to convince anybody to go to South Congress. And so it wasn't that huge of a leap. I was a lawyer before, and there were a few different things that happened. I had a friend who got really sick and eventually died, and it was one of those things, you know, when you face mortality for the first time, you sort of let go of what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And so the San Jose cost $500,000. And they got my mom to co-sign a note.
Yes.
And then I didn't know that nobody would loan me money, so I ended up working the desk for a few years. You know, one thing led to another, but the risk wasn't so great at the time. And I had no idea what I was doing. I might not have done it.
Well, isn't that the way of a lot of things?
It's the way I lived my life.
Yeah, we really knew that it would never done. But did you want to be in the hotel business, or you just like that building, or what?
I liked hotels. I was a lawyer. I'd been a travel lawyer for years. I didn't like doing that anymore. I like design. And I really did, it was sort of serendipity, and I really did think that would be the only hotel I'd ever be involved in, and that I would redo it room by room, and it couldn't be that hard, and maybe we charge $75 a night. And like nobody imagines South Congress to do what it is now. So either the stakes weren't as high, I mean, they were high for me because I quit my law job, but you know, I just sort of learned my way into it.
And how do you describe your style? I mean, and is it just something that just came organically from you, your style, or is it?
I think so. My mother really loved design. Well, we're from the beautiful design-driven town of Odessa, Texas. So, you know, beauty was all around us. My mom really did love design. She loved travel, and she loved hotels, and one of my brothers, Lyndon, was a designer. And so I kind of lived with it all my life. I didn't know that's what I would eventually want to do. And I was a designer. I was never trained as one. And I certainly didn't think of myself as a hotelier. And so I sort of learned it from the ground up. I didn't know I'd make a full career out of it. But as far as my style goes, I think that I think of myself more as a storyteller. And so when a hotel is born, it's more of like digging into the local place and the way people build and what people are doing there and the stories they're telling and maybe sometimes what they need. We do really deep market studies, and so a lot of design comes from that. I have to have a narrative. And it's a lot is about color and a lot is about a language that I develop and stay really true to. And you may not realize it when you're in a place, but I think it's quietly sort of permeates place.
So, but each place is different in its way because it's informed by the edifice itself, right? And its location, but there's some through lines, I'm sure, that for all your.
It's always such a hard question for me. I don't know. It's really, I don't know. I mean, I really do, you know, that in college, I studied creative writing. This is what my degree was in poetry. And I think of a hotel a little like a plane. And so I think that the through line is, I mean, from the different projects I've done, from the Austin Hotel to the St. Cecilia to the St. Vincent to St. Cristobal, all of those are really different, but you're right, there is some through line. I'm just the wrong person to ask. I mean, it's, yeah, what do you think?
I think there's a nice juxtaposition of just clean lines, but just those touches of color and kind of quirkiness that add on to it. I remember going to the Thunderbird, when you had the Thunderbird, when first opening that, I think I might have written something from Connie Nast Trouble, but I remember, was that the place you had the record players in the room?
Yeah,
And I just,
the first one, yeah.
first of all, I just love that because it's like, and it just spoke to me.
I'm a very analog person.
I love that. So not the sex tech thing.
I mean, I understand everything you're saying. Sex is analog too.
So, what, has there been one hotel that's been the hardest to do, or most challenging, or?
They're definitely all hard. I think maybe St. Cristobal, which is a hotel we did in Baja, which is at the other end of Baja, the branch of La Puerta, is in the very tip at in Todos Santos, about 45 miles from Baja. And we could not import anything from the States. So we, for a variety of reasons, mainly because of taxes, it was 30% of the markup. So we had to do or find or make, which is what we did. All of the furniture, all of the textiles, all of the lighting, all the china, everything that you really saw or touched, we made or fabricated, or I've been up in the mountains outside of Oaxaca for textiles, and it was a real journey. It was a real challenge. It was hard, but it was super rewarding.
I was gonna say, because then everything is of that place.
Yeah,
of
for sure.
Mexico, it's of, so it, you didn't take any shortcuts like, oh, that looks Mexico. You went to the actual source. You went to
Yeah, I mean, for a variety of reasons, if I would find something somewhere in Mexico, it's a long story, but it had to go through import, so it have to go back to the States and be imported through San Diego. So
oh my
it was, yeah. So it was a little bit of like a game show. I love a game show. Yeah.
And so the St. Vincent, a lot of your hotels are Saint.
I mean, it started in San Jose because it was a Saint.
Yeah.
And that was the name of the hotel, and then it kind of, I went on a little bit of a riff.
Yeah.
But the St. Vincent was called the St. Vincent. The St. Vincent was the St. Vincent's infant asylum.
And what is cool, this is so great, is that you're friends with the singer St. Vincent,
Right.
which is the coolest thing. I came to this thing, I just thought it was helping to open this up. I didn't know there was a big party, and all of a sudden there's a big party, and it was so amazing.
It was Annie Clark from Dallas, St. Vincent. So she's an old friend of mine. And so when I was trying to find the St. Vincent, Annie was on tour once in New Orleans, and I just had the hardest time getting a deal done or trying to buy it. And I asked her to meet when we went over there together. I got a bottle of wine, brown paper bag. And I'd never been in a hotel at night, I'm telling you, it was pretty dicey. And for me to say that, it's a lot. I mean, people were trying tricks, it was just mad. So we said on the steps. So, yeah. So when we opened the hotel, could see her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that moment, remember, when we thought COVID was coming to a close.
Oh, right.
For the moment, it's
Yeah.
like brief.
Yeah, you hit it right at the, I mean, there's a lot of people there. And,
Yeah.
you know, lots of, I should ask you that, like being in the hotel industry during COVID, or.
We all know what that was like.
Yeah, that was very, very intense. So I like to think that nothing in life is wasted. Everything we do ends up informing our later selves, and so, and you had an incredible background as in ranching and so forth. What, and your English degrees and your law degree, what all has informed from your life has brought you to this place, you think?
Oh, I mean, everything, right? Doesn't it bring us all here? I mean, everything we've ever done. Being a lawyer didn't hurt,
For all the negotiations. and
Yeah, I mean, learning not being so afraid of business, although it turns out I knew nothing about it. I thought, well, I certainly, I can do this, and it turns out it's harder than you think it is. But I think everything in your past does. I mean, like I mentioned, my mom's sense of design and color, her love of color. My brother, living with him for a long time, we lived together on and off over the years when we were in college and beginning law school, and living around things and objects, whether it's a Marcel Breuer chair or who Albert Alta was, like learning about osmosis about design. I think that was really helpful. But hotels, I mean, who doesn't, like we all love a hotel in a way or another. So I mean, I used to go with my granddad, who was a rancher, to the big hotel in downtown Odessa because he didn't have an office. And that's where he would do his business. And there was a place, a barber shop and shoe shine and that kind of thing. So I think I've had a long love of hotels.
And what about Martha, or that area in West Texas where your family has ranch? What does that bring into it? I mean, this is
That's funny. I think some of my favorite people are from East Texas, and I call it behind the pine curtain. Because it feels so claustrophobic to me. But I think being from West Texas is a sense of space and possibility and just openness. And I think, there's a certain minimalism, if you will, about that. And I mean, not just the Donald Judd stuff, but just the sense of the landscape. And I think that probably comes along with me as well.
Yeah, and you have the great El Cosmico out there, which is so fun. Has anybody stayed there? I mean, that's just an amazing place. You brought a new definition to, a new sensibility to, camping, trailers, and all that. You have the music festival. I've been there for that music festival.
The music festival was great this year. It was really, really good.
And are you going to be doing more of the kind of the El Cosmo kind of?
Yeah, we're in so I know you know that a good photography company has started, Bunkhouse, and that was 3 years ago now. So, but this, in a cool twist of fate, they still had a contract to manage our concert, which I own. And so it was only a few months ago that Bunkhouse left the picture. And so this was the first music festival we've had without them, it turned out I was a little afraid, but it was awesome. It was really, really good. But we also, I'm about to have, I think, an opportunity to really expand El Cosmico, both in Marfa and in other places, I hope.
And, this getting fired from your own company, I can't even imagine. How did you deal with that?
Actually, my son, I was discussing this with Erin, my wife, on the way over.
Yes. There's Erin and there's Lyndon.
Hopefully she's asleep. But he said, you were fired? Yeah, I was fired. He said, why, Mom? And I said, they said I was an unmanageable employee. What about that?
Oh, no, like, I mean, sorry.
Okay, that was a big one. I mean, there were a few hard years, definitely, because it was a really emotional, both something that I've been building for 15 years, but family that, people that we're working with that I've worked with for that long, a lot of them. And so it was more than just leaving a job for me. And I felt very wrong as well. But it turned out, I know you hear this all the time, but it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because I would have gone down with the ship, the business was in a hard place. That's why I sold the majority stake in it. And it was a constant battle, and I ended up in a much better place with a much healthier company, and with just, it was a hard letting go, but it was the best thing that's happened to me.
I mean, that is a great lesson for all of us. I mean, really, and you do hear it a lot, but.
You do hear it a lot, but I think you hear it, I mean, in the moment, you don't think that could possibly be true, and that people just shut up about the silver lining.
Yeah.
But it actually is something, and I don't know if that's because you have to grow to rise to the occasion, or you have to let go of some things you held very dearly that you probably shouldn't hold so tightly to. I don't know, but turns out it's true.
And so now you are partners with McGuire, tell me the whole name.
McGuire, Morgan, Lambert,
Yeah,
hospitality.
And so you have St. Vincent, and what's coming next? I know that you mentioned the El Paso, but other things that you
Yeah,
look.
we're doing it over on West 6th Street. You guys know where Swedish Hill is, and Bond Square, and all of that stuff we're doing in development there.
Oh.
It's out in the press now, so it's a big development we're doing with Herzog Gimron, which is really, really exciting. It'll be the first Herzog building in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm getting to work with the Archangels group on some stuff. I mean, I'm really, again, like I said, I'm in a place where I'm working with some of architecture firms that I've dreamed about, or not even aspired to work with, because I never thought it would happen. And I'm working on several projects like that now, which is great.
And on these projects, you work with the architects, but do you drive the interior design, or you drive?
Yeah, well, Larry McGuire and I also have a design company called Larry McGuire Design.
Okay.
And so we do interiors, interior architecture, interiors, and we do them for restaurants and hotels, obviously, but for a few other things too.
You have your own projects, and then you do it for others as well.
Yeah.
And you have a beautiful wife, and how old is Linda now?
And then turned 4 about 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God, so
And it's
yeah.
past his bedtime, and we didn't really realize how big it was gonna be, but he's really excited to be here.
Well, Linda, we're glad you're here. Erin, we're so happy you're here too. And Liz, we can't thank you enough for taking your time.
This is awesome.
I
I know, I'm almost on it from it.
Oh, let's do it. She's in her place, so please come, and Lori will be there.
Yeah.
But everyone, thank you, Liz. I mean, seriously, Liz, you're just the best and amazing, and we're so thrilled that you're here in Austin and using all your creative powers for Austin and beyond. And we can't wait to come to the new project down on 6th Street, so.
And Aspen too.
Oh, Aspen, wow. Just everywhere we want to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Always thinking about what we're doing next, and one of the things we're most excited about now is our Sing Out Loud Challenge. We're sponsoring with our newest lifetime member, Lorene Ladd. Let's give a shout out to all the lifetime. wrote a story that we published about her journey to become a singer and all the heart and soul she put into that. And now that she's on the path and taking off, releasing her second album, she wants to do the same for another aspiring singer. So she has helpfully decided we're gonna fly somebody else in to open for her album debut in December. So tell us a little bit about why you're doing that.
Thanks, Jeannie. Yes, as she described, I'm a singer-songwriter, but I started out my career in business and slowly over time decided that what I wanted to really follow my heart was all about music. And so with the help of Next Tribe, an opportunity to share my story and to reach out to women all over the US and hopefully have some aspiring singers submit a video. I have some great judges, of which Jeannie and Jeannie are part of the judging group. We're gonna fly one of them into Austin and she will perform as the opening act for my release in December. In all of your gift bags, there's a little bit of information about that. And where is Christy Campbell? Where is she? She just left. Okay, I did convince her she will be our next submission. So peer pressure to all of you ladies, so that if it's not you, or perhaps you know someone who would like to submit a video, to encourage them to do so. Really excited to connect with other women around creativity, and obviously with Next Tribe, it's always easy to do. So thank you.
The other thing that we're doing, we're always trying to help women find their way to their dreams and find their way to each other, which is why we just started a new thing online called Tribe, and it's a way to get CF Circle Tribe and member login, because it's a way that you can be in touch with each other, find friends and all that, and you don't sell your data, we don't troll you, or nobody's trolling you, nobody's asking for nude pictures. Oh, except we already did that, remember that real body challenge? Which we're doing. If you still want to send your naked picture in, you can. Anonymously, and just to show what real bodies were like, and like Rocio said, real bodies, it's important to show what we look like and for the world. So if you do that, please you'll just create your profile. It's very important that you create your profile, and we can find each other both here in Austin and elsewhere in the country. And so I just want to say that if you had a good time tonight and you're not a member, please become a member. You'll get discounts on trips and events like this. You'll get access to all kinds of things. You'll get priority boarding. And all of you got an Austin guide on your seat. Please take that. That's a little introduction to what we're doing here. There's a QR code for you because now we know QR codes. We know how to learn to do Zoom. All these things have gotten so much smarter since the pandemic. So I hope you'll join us, and I hope you'll join us on a trip. Maybe Liz will come to Umbria, and we can all, learn more about her and her creativity journey. So I hope this is not the end, but a beginning of a continuing friendship. Thank you so much.